Good. We are back on the happy hour. Of course, Wine for the People, day 56. That is day 57 for me. So definitely feel for me, feel for my pain, and we're gunning towards 100 episodes in a row. That's something that I want to be able to say after this whole thing when people go like, what did you guys do to COVID? I was just 100 days straight of just talking directly to people and having a lot of fun. Justin has straight in again. The guy's unstoppable. This guy's like 20 days in a row. It's like seriously, every single day. It's like
on the fast money.
No, seriously, and it's like a flurry. It's an absolute flurry of people coming online at the moment. Thank you so much, guys. Terry, so great to see you again. Thank you so much for obviously coming up. Terry came up live last night. Really fantastic. Guys, we have someone absolutely remarkably special to introduce you to, and it is something that's come up a little bit in the comments section as well the last 50 days, talking about different aspects of the wine industry, and there's a couple that we actually haven't managed to cover because to be frank, there's probably not a lot of people like this person, especially in South Australia, which we're very thankful for your time tonight. This is Nick Stock.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
No, so I'm so incredibly pumped because not only, I mean, as people at home know, I'm an absolute like film nerd, videography nerd.
Yeah.
And I knew you were, but we've never sort of like connected over that before.
Yeah.
And it's a huge thing for you. I just really fucking love videography stuff and how it can tell a story, and wine tells an amazing story as well. How have you managed to fuse these things together?
Oh well, like I was already working, I guess, when videography or sort of or online online content sort of started to evolve as a space. I was already working as a wine critic, and I was writing guidebooks and writing for magazines and newspapers and whatnot. And I just thought, like, how fucking exciting is it that we can actually
show people
instead of us all telling the stories, we can actually get people there telling the stories. And it's just like it is a fantastic medium for storytelling, and wine is very much a world of storytelling, So it's so I just got really excited by that, and I thought hell, I want to get into the space as soon as I can, and I wanted to. It was at an interesting time whereby like everyone was just filming shit on their phone, like people just started like filming stuff on their phone for the first time. That's when that started, and so that was interesting, just watching people do that. And I thought, wow, actually, like there was an inner filmmaker somewhere inside me, and I thought, really, actually would love to get into this space, but with a bit of craftsmanship, and to try and think about an aesthetic that fits the story, that fits the place, and whatnot. And that's probably, there's another part of my brain. I trained as an architect, so I have an architecture degree. Yeah, I have an architecture degree and a design degree, and so.
Fuck, you just became so much cool. I mean, you were cool before, but now it's next level.
Well, that's sort of there's an aesthetic sort of part, and it's there's that side kind of all feeds in. So yeah, it's just it's a creative outlet, and that's my brain is kind of like my brain's fires by creative things. Like I can't. I look at spreadsheets and I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I love that side of it. So yeah, it was good. It was nice to, and no one was really doing it in the wine space.
Totally.
So I started with a buddy of mine, a guy called Luke Eblin, who was already in the space, and he was doing content like fashion, hair care. Obviously,
right.
Obviously I didn't mean there, but. He was sort of working in a different space, and so we sort of started collaborating. We both came from a sort of a different, we came from very different areas, and he was definitely outside of wine, and he's like, what's this wine shit all about? And he brought kind of a sort of an aesthetic or an approach that was probably more about more informed by like fashion and those sorts of things, and so that was fun to sort of bring all those things together. Yeah.
So, I mean, you've been pretty lucky in traveling the world of wine, and I no doubt you've stood at La Morra and looked out across Barolo before, and Barbaresco,
sure.
and some of the most picturesque places.
My beating heart, stop it.
it's actually, we had David Ridge on the other day, and we were just like, oh man, we're not going to go there this year. But when you try to describe that to people, it's so hard. It's so hard, and we try to describe wine through sort of essentially like a smell-o-vision thing, a blind tasting thing. It's so difficult to be able to tell and display the gravitas of how awestruck one can be when you stand at those places. video is like relinquishes all of that. It fixes all of these things.
Yeah, it does, and it also like I think of it as a visually textural medium, and I think my wine brain is very much a texture brain. Sure, there's fruits and flowers and all sorts of things, but really, like I'm so fixated on the texture of wine. Hence, I love Nebbiolo.
Yeah.
And I sort of always think, whenever I'm sort of creating, sort of content that involves wine, it's very much what's the texture of where we are or what we're doing, and how do we sort of communicate that side of it, through the screen,
So, design, architecture.
Yeah.
Okay. Filmmaker, but
Yeah.
wine's sitting in there as well.
I'm like 93 years old.
So you're fucking Yoda. So like how did you venture into wine? What was the inception point? Was it an inception wine? Was it a did you work in a winery and then just get inspired by it, or?
No, I grew up in Adelaide. Wine was kind of around. I hope you're not watching, but Dad used to buy like a really shitty bottle of wine and like open it on Saturday morning and let it breathe all day to magically become a great wine. It was going to become a great wine. I thought that was pretty fucking interesting. And I wasn't probably even getting pocket money at that stage, so I didn't really know what that was all about. But I wasn't brought up in a house of wine, and God bless Mum, I love you so much. But it wasn't a house of great feasting and food. It was pretty. My mum cooked to feed the family because we had to eat.
Yep.
And we didn't really celebrate food and wine. So it was really. I was down at my grandparents. They fell in love with the Barossa Valley. They were combi van people. They had a fucking motorcycle with a sidecar. They had a tandem bike. They're
badass.
They just loved touring
Badass
around and doing stuff. They just loved getting around and walking. And they used to take us to the Barossa. And I remember the first time I went to Seppeltsfield as a kid. First time I'd ever been in a winery, and I was like, big machines, what the fuck. And then it was like, holy shit, like that smells beautiful. Like something smells amazing. And then it was like, 10 minutes later, it was like, that's really gross. Like, I can't stand that. What is it? And it was the first time, actually, for me, that I really became totally captivated by my sense of smell.
Another whole complete sense.
It was like I sort of, hadn't really thought about it very much, but it's like I was in this, like, museum of smells and stuff. So that's kind of what turned it on. Obviously, I was pretty young. And then I pursued an acting career when I left school. Moved to Sydney, got a job in Melbourne. Melbourne was like, this is a while back, but Melbourne was really like the food place in Australia. It was crazy. And then, we used to hang out at Mietta's, which was sort of a famous kind of restaurant and supper bar after shows. And I sort of got into food, and then I was like, okay, went back to after that job, and I was like, money was good. I enjoyed having money. I want to learn about food. My friend was working in a great restaurant. It's like, can you hook me up with a job in the restaurant? And before that, I was like, I'm going to be an actor. And I cannot compromise and work in a restaurant. And then after having some money, I was like, fuck that. Let's get down. And so I really wanted to learn about food, because I realized that's what makes that's it's the center of culture. I just thought, wow, imagine exploring the world via food. That's a crazy thought. And then there was wine, and wine just fascinated me, because that was another step there. And I just love the fact that every bottle tastes different. I love the fact that you make it taste this way and you make it taste that way, and so I just sort of fell in love with it. And then the first great wine was a 1979 Leo Buehring Riesling. So it was like a super old Riesling.
79 Leo Buehring. So that would have been the guy that taught. That would have been wasn't Vickery.
That was John Vickery. Yeah.
OG Vickery.
Yeah, and someone just gave me a glass and said, "Hey, try this," and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" Like that it just like totally
mind-blowing.
Just turned my world inside out. So that was that was the first time I thought, wow, wine is just like really amazing. So yeah.
It's actually really interesting you talk about how like a wine can be made by two different people two completely different ways and taste so completely different. And my experience was a little bit the opposite when I first discovered that it didn't really matter what vigneron that you put these grapes in the hands of, the vineyard always tasted the same. That was Canubi. Discovering the different expressions of Canubi.
Wait. You got into wine and started like... No. Motherfucker.
No, I'm from Queensland, so like, and you're like, oh, you know, my parents, I love them so much. I'm like, yeah, but like, you know, I got a massive caveat right here. Yeah, no, so no, I was always sort of into wine, into sort of like the really fine balance. I find it very similar. I can't be satisfied in doing one thing all the time. Actually, that's like an absolute nightmare. And that's what's led us to. I'm like, hey, cool, Laura, I've got a really cool idea. We should do wine. And the next time we go to a winery, it's like, oh, you know, I just really think distilling things is going to be really good fun. Next time we've got a distillery,
Yeah.
you know, and next time we've got sort of, you know, 30 grand's worth of videography equipment, and Laura's giving me daggers. You know, but it was the moment where we actually, and I like the fine balance of wine, I think. Between sort of, there is the blue collar side of things, the white collar side of things, which I don't mean to like I said, we talked about pigeonholing.
You mean
but
like
you
the
know,
Adelaide Hills versus
versus Barossa. No, more like, you know, a half my day could be spent covered in shit and leaves. And then the other half,
Yeah.
I could like, you know, get into a suit and go out and have a really amazing meal.
Yeah.
We can talk to farmers at the beginning of the day, or we could talk to, you know, restaurateurs, sommeliers, you know, wine critics at the end of the day. And I find that so you could exist inside this world of wine in so many different facets.
Yeah.
But speaking of, well, firstly, speaking of wine, do you want some fucking wine?
Yeah, dude. Just while we're on the eat, pray, love kind of moment of the broadcast, like that for me is the essence of it. Like like, you know, I just love things that bring people together, and wine.
Sure.
Like I love the way that wine brings people together. I love the way that, you know, it's a connection point for people that, you know, can't even speak the same language sometimes. You know?
Absolutely.
You can connect over a glass of wine or a bottle of wine, and I think, you know, that's something that I always try and hold on to. Like everything I do in my career in working with wine is it always has that as a real central kind of pillar, that wine is about bringing people together. It's about connecting and very basic sort of stuff. And then, you know, we can talk about, you know, Kanubi, and we can talk about, you know,
when you get to that level where it's already so ingrained into the culture,
Yeah.
you can actually start to narrow it down.
But that fundamental principle of connection, whether it's like, you know, buying a 4 litre cask and inviting a couple of friends over and just getting loaded, and, you know,
Because you reviewed some casks the other day.
I did, mate. Yeah. Did you watch it?
Nothing. Yeah, I did. It was so cool. I was like, wow, nothing's beyond this guy. He can do everything. It was amazing. Honestly, it was really cool to actually see, like, wine just seen as wine.
Yeah. I have 18 litres of cask wine sitting at home, by the way. If anyone's just like
It's so
a little
good
bit,
if you brought
if
the
anyone's
blind
a little
tasting.
bit-
It's like, oh, here's a bottle, and it's just a fucking box.
Did anyone recognise when you bought them?
No, I got them sent because I'm actually through Instagram. Jess Hill Smith, you know, her family, you know, owns that business, and she was like drinking cask wine. I sent her a message. I was like, wow, it's, you know, this is it's full on, you know.
We've reached this
You know,
level.
just a bit of trash talk, and she's like, fuck it, yeah. And I was like, I want to try them. You know, I have no idea what they taste like. And I went to Dan Murphy's, and because of the restriction, like there's a sign on the door saying you can buy like 2 cases of beer, a bottle of spirits, and you can buy 2 casks of wine. I was like, I'm not fucking.
That's up, man.
I'm doing like 10 trips to Dan Murphy's to do this tasting. It's like, this is bullshit.
I wonder how the rules work. How do they enforce it? Can you just like buy it, walk out, walk in, walk out, walk in, and every single time you walk in, it's
I
like
guess
different-
so.
I mean,
just
it's-
turn, like, you know, it's definitely not me that was here before. No way. I don't know. Like,
Well, we're going to get some wine into glasses. Most
do it.
importantly, I want to know what you guys are drinking at home, because you should be drinking something very special. It was highlighted to me by my lovely sister-in-law the other day that the I think it's the 3rd Friday of May is indeed Saborage Day. Now, if we don't know what Saborage is, it's a process. Or what is Saborage?
Saborage is like a fun way of opening a bottle of fizz. So any bottle of fizz that's got some decent pressure inside it.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's a way of you know, it's a way of opening the bottle, but it's a way that you can actually get very creative with it. You know, so you can you know, yeah.
We've
I don't know
showcased.
how deep I want to go on this.
That's awesome. we thought, well, firstly, my first vintage experience was actually in Champagne, and so I've actually got like a legit one out of Champagne that I brought back with me.
Where?
Veuve Clicquot, Ponce-Adon, with Francois Audica.
Nice.
It's a freaking awesome, eye-opening experience product.
So did they like pick you up in a Rolls Royce, drive you to work in the morning, give you some freshly squeezed juice and a little croissant before you walked in? And
It was very French.
was it good?
it was very, no, it was
it high-end?
wholesalers run by Germans.
Okay.
It's all just, and so like basically if you weren't there, you were fired. And what happened was a whole bunch of people got fired, and I was just there doing like the English-speaking tours.
Right.
And then I was asking too many questions, and then next minute they're like, jump in the cellar. And I was like, okay.
Just jump in the cellar, go down the back and shut the fuck up.
Basically, basically lift some heavy shit and clean up. So Sabotage, of course, is, and I was trawling through the internet for you guys to try to like showcase how to do it properly. Be very doing it in your own home, it can be pretty nasty. And in fact, here's the French Laundry is pretty famous.
Yep.
Place, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
and you'd think that would know how to be at a Sabotage of all places.
Have you got bloopers? You got Sabotage bloopers?
So here is the French Laundry opening an incredible bottle. This is probably my favourite one. Actually, no, I'll show you. I've got my favourite. It's from a friend of ours. It's so good. No, that's not how you do it. You're not meant to hit it straight. You're meant to slide it along the top of the shoulders.
It's not firewood, baby.
It's no. But I've heard of people doing it with glasses. You can apparently with like a wine glass.
Look, there's a whole world of like, you know, Sabotage, like doing it with, you know, just anything you can pick up that's got an edge on it.
Well, so this person here, of course, is trying to do it with a glass, and with obviously Dom Perignon. It is very impressive, just not when you do it that way.
No. No, I will not marry you. I'm not going to marry you. I'm not.
But by far, now I'm not sure if you've seen this because I had to trawl through the depths of Facebook. It is not on YouTube. This is not on YouTube. It is our friend Timo Meyer. Have you seen Timo Meyer?
I have seen.
this isn't so much a lack of technique, more so than a lack of patience. I feel. This is an amazing winemaker out of Victoria.
Yes, Timo.
If you know this particular winemaker, then you know that is absolutely within his bounds. But we're gonna do it on here, and either we're gonna succeed and it look very classy, or we're gonna make a meme. But I think both of those things, shoot for the stars, maybe hit the moon. So I've got a bunch of sparkling wine here, out of a little cooperative project. I think we should both take a crack at this because it doubles the odds of making a meme. I feel,
all right.
And that's we live for memes. For those that chime into the Unico Friday fluff pieces by Noah, today's was a cracker, absolute cracker. So are you meant to leave the hood on?
Take it off.
You're meant to take it off?
Yeah. And,
all right.
And then find
Well, Yuko's about to pop a house arrows.
I mean, look, we aren't all ballers, but I reckon Yuko, you should open it the way that we're going to try to open it. Apparently, you can do it with a spoon. Is a pretty good way to do it. Opening it with a spoon or a back of a knife, of course.
Or with a thought, just do it with a thought.
Yeah, just stare, really.
Right? Like Darth Vader. How would Darth Vader sabrage? He would sabrage with a thought. You wouldn't even know that he was about to sabrage.
It would just pop. I mean,
it wouldn't be only a light. Or maybe a lightsaber.
Jumping straight to the comments, guys, thank you so much for chiming in. Of course, Yuko, Laura, Kerry, Christina, Jicky, Terry, Bronwyn, everyone, fantastic. Good to see you. So, would you like to go first? This is why we set this sort of blanket
is that
space
the
up. Like a power stance or something. But here you go. Have you seen these before? You've done this before.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in the way. I mean, this could go really, really, really. All right. One smooth motion. There we go.
Thank you very much.
So, see, that's nice and clean. Let's see how much I can fuck this up.
It's all about the follow through.
It's all about, you can't just stop, but you sort of, it is kind of like a roll. It's not the ideal bottle, hey? but I think maybe just a nice smooth.
You can do it, man. Just be the.
Oh, whoa! Just
Yes.
that's fantastic.
That's good.
Mate, would you like some wine?
Sure. Yeah.
It's a cheeky little, it's 100% Chardonnay, Adelaide Hills, Charmat method. Nothing too crazy, just for basically sabouraging. It's sabourage wine. That's what it is.
Well, it worked for
Look at
that.
that! Look at that! We're absolute pros, man. That is just too good.
Well, happy
Happy Sabourage
Happy
Day.
Sabourage Day.
Yeah, cheers, man.
Cheers.
Do you guys want some wine? They're all sucking on Gareth Belton's Piccadilly Pinot at the moment, so don't pop them.
They're good. Gareth actually came down last week with all of his new, his 19 Pinots. I know he was on.
Wines.
I know he was on
last
here.
night.
Yeah, he's just, for me, he's gone next level with the 19s. Very, very good wines.
Amazing out of that vintage as well.
And he's such a tough self-critic, Gareth, as well. He sets the bar high for himself. And to see him come in and go, I really want to show you these wines, man. Like, I really like them. I'm really happy with them. I was like, fucking hell. Like,
when he says that,
they're going to be epic.
Absolutely, and we were even talking about that last night. The quality of Gareth's wines, and amongst that sort of like the whole enclave, the whole crew, there is a consistent level of improvement that we're seeing every single year, over and over and over again. And it's an adamant sort of standpoint that I've just never had a bad release from him. I've just never, not bad wines, I've just never had faulty wines. And you're right, he's probably one of the harshest self-critics, and it's a bit of a unique thing in that area. To be fair. But when you talk, obviously you review wine.
Hey, before we get off Sabrage, I just remembered, I wore a Sabrage Day t-shirt.
Oh, did you? That's too good. That is too good.
There it is. The Joy of Wine. So this was a gift from Rory Kent, who does the Young Gun of Wine.
Oh, wicked!
But
because you're involved with that.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. Well, you were. You were there.
Yeah.
But anyway,
People's Choice.
The Joy of Wine t-shirt, my Sabrage.
2015 or something like that.
Sabrage t-shirt.
That's fantastic, mate. Thank you so much. So I was running because I was like sent through that email. I was like, he didn't reply. Did he think I was weird? Okay. Well, we got it. We got there in the end. So, talking about wine. So, so you review Gareth's wines. You review wine. You're a wine critic.
Yeah.
That's any. I mean, there is, and I imagine this is the case. I don't know much about like being a wine critic or being I'm not sure, a wine judge. I've done show judging, but this is a different whole thing altogether. Is it an enviable job?
Yeah. I mean, it's there's not, if you go to the Yellow Pages and go for wine critic, there's none. But it's an amazing job, and it's a high pressure job. That's something I would say.
Yep.
It's something that when you do something that you love so much, you just it's all consuming. So
the hours just tick by. Like, do you work really long hours?
Yeah, I do. Like I was up this morning. I was up and I was tasting at 7:30. I was actually hooking into Cabernet at 7:30 this morning. Because I often like to get the bigger wines. I like to get done at the start of the day while I'm fresh. Like later on, when your sort of brain and your palate's tired, it's harder to do those sort of bigger wines. But yeah, I love it. I absolutely adore it. The travel side, I travel about six to 7 months of the year. Well, normally, I'm traveling outside of Australia, so I'm in another part of the world. That's challenging, it's that just from a personal level, doing that amount of travel is hard.
Not staying in one place, not sort of investing in a place for so long.
Yeah, well, I go to the same places year. I go in January I go here, and in February I go there. So I do, I sort of like I've built little local neighborhoods around the world. So I go and stay in the same hotel. Like the guy knows
sort of normality, structure.
The guy and nice little hotels with people that I like, and I know where to get a coffee, or I know where the good cheese can be bought. Who does a salad? I just sort of have these little neighborhoods. So that helps, but it's it's family. Family and really close friends. It takes a while to figure out how to maintain maintain those friendships, because people go, oh mate, you're a wine critic, fabulous, you're just off, you're just like gallivanting around the world doing all this crazy stuff, life may be great, and they're like, see you when you get back, and I'm like, oh come on man, I still need friends, like I still need so actually the hardest side of it is that personal side to kind of have. And like I said earlier on, like connectivity and those things are important to me. That's why I'm involved in wine. And yeah, man. To be honest, that's the hard part of the job, to reconcile all of that, and I hate coming home, because it's that first night I get home and I'm like, cool, unpack the bags, a bit jet lagged, and then I'm like, okay, it's Friday night. Hey, what are you up to? Oh, okay, no worries. Hey, I just got. Oh, okay, why are you busy? Oh, cool. Maybe later on. Maybe tomorrow. You just go through your friends, and it's like everyone else. You just realize.
Mate, you can call me up any fucking time. Seriously, I will sync a couple of anything with you.
Let's drink Corolla, yeah.
No issue with this.
But it's so that is tricky. But like, I mean, the upside's amazing. Like it's a dream to be able to. Go and visit the places and taste the wines, but also like I'm always very interested in the people behind the wines, and I'm interested in the stories of the families, and that side of it to me is as fascinating to sort of try and understand. And if you remember when I said how I got into wine, it was basically a cultural kind of thing. I was attracted to this sort of the global culture of existence, and I've ended up in wine's quite a niche, but that side of that sort of cultural aspect to it. It still really is a huge reason I'm involved.
That's a huge and on that, it's something that we obviously outside of Unico, we're involved obviously with Applewood Distillery, and involved very heavily in a big movement with native ingredients, and being able to monetize that for farmers to incentivize them to put more in the ground. And and from there, one thing that I sort of posit is, think of if you could really nail down, if you could minimalize how is culture built in 3 elements, it would be food, booze, and stories. If you go right back to your cavemen, you meet someone and you sit down and you share some food with them, you swap some stories, and that could be whether it was right back when we're talking about say dreaming, and even today being able to have a cultural story swap over a meal is a really humble thing. And if ultimately you still don't like the person sitting across from you, if you just have like a bit of a drink, you're gonna be all right. Like you're gonna lower the social inhibitions, you're gonna be able to, and then there's stories involved inside all of those products as well. Stories inside food, stories inside wine, and when I say sort of stories in general, I mean that's art. That could be drama, that could be physical art, that could be all sorts of different things. And one thing that's been a massive sort of bugbear of us, and I think it's sort of something that we all know as Aussies, is they call it like the identity crisis of Australia. Like, what does it mean to be Aussie? And you could say this to anyone in the world, and a lot of people said, oh, we're a really young country. And I'm like, okay, but when I go to Singapore and said that laksa actually traditionally is a Malaysian dish, they fire the fuck up. They get really passionate about it. They're like, no, Singaporean laksa is really distinct from Malaysian laksa. It's a massive difference. And they get passionate about these things. They go, okay, we're multicultural. And they go, okay, well, let's go and have a look at basically most of Asia. Or we go into New Zealand, where they have kia ora on quite literally every piece of marketing material, and a real acceptance of that culture. But when you actually look down into the basic building blocks of culture, what is Australian stories? And we have an amazing array of them. We may be not accepting of 60% of them. We have amazing Australian food, but we're still relearning that over and over again. And an amazing Australian booze. So you're like, wine's maybe a small part of culture. I actually argue wine's a massive. Wine has always been, and also alcoholic products as well, has actually been a massive part of culture building globally. So what is Australian wine then? If you have such a width and breadth of being able to see, different producers' wines, and you do you do show judging much as well?
I used to do like a lot of it.
It's a grueling thing.
Yeah, fantastic to actually train your palate. It's like going to the gym a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't have really time to do it anymore. But occasionally, yeah. But
so outside, so you get obviously to see such a width and breadth of wine. Where is Australian wine at the moment? It's like where we're at in Australia. Like I can talk about that, and then I can talk about the perception of where we're at in it's big difference
in different parts of the world. And you'd
massively different.
You'd be really surprised as to the perception of Australian wine. Like for example, if you go to Paris at the moment and you jump into any number of the hippest, mostly natural wine bars in Paris, and you say like, I'm a wine critic from Australia, like they are like bang, and it's like they're, oh my god, this bang, I want to go there. I've heard this, I've tasted that, I've drunk this. It's so amazing.
I've heard of all the cool natty guys making waves in Australia.
Yeah, so like, so there are these, there are a lot of unexpected things. It's a big question to talk about, but there are we could talk about sort of
because there's such a history. There's a massive history in Australian wine, and then there was an avant-garde movement that really caused everything to quickly shift. And even like when we're rolling through the States, it's almost like they don't. When we started sending stuff across to the USA, it was like 3 years ago, and they hadn't even discovered natural wine yet. And then they discovered it, and it went freaking wildfire.
Yeah, and then when you say the States, it's like, and I spend probably 2 months a year in the States. It's like, well, like it's like Pluto, Mars,
Yeah.
Uranus. Like there's a lot of different aspects to that country even. But look, I think so I always come back to and now we can like we're doing right now, we can share stories, and we can sort of talk about things in a way that is actually it's much faster at getting the message across, or leading the conversation, or shaping the conversation, or sort of changing the conversation. And there's a phenomenal curiosity about Australian wine, and there is a phenomenal curiosity about Australia as a place. Like people think Australia is kind of considered to be very far away and very kind of exotic, and very
I'm into that.
yeah, like and almost a bit frightening, like it's as a place.
Like the frontier.
Yeah, it is real. Like
so, I think about that like South Africa.
Yeah,
it scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, look, Gareth could probably. I wouldn't go to South Africa without Gareth. No way.
So fortunately, my wife grew up there, so I was very free. Like
I would definitely take. I would take Gareth along with me for sure. Yeah. It's like, I'm just with Gareth. Yeah, no, everyone's
I'm just the other guy.
I'm Gareth's friend.
All right, so
just as a question, because I'm now that I'm not traveling, I'm doing a sort of the next three months, it's sort of very deep dive in Australia. So my head's deep in the Australian space at the moment, and like we're in a very, very, very cool moment, because the discussion has shifted all the way back to growing grapes and good farming and farming practice, and understanding that the quality comes from there, and you can't add it in later. You can't. So there's this, and a lot of that awareness, or that awakening, has come from like your or our sort of generation, and it's a very exciting time. And I'm not just talking about new businesses like Unicazello or first generation business. I'm talking about like 6-7 generation businesses. There's this big sort of shift, and Australia is it's like that. The unlocking of that understanding in terms of the way we grow grapes and the way we go about making wine is like we are just that wave is just coming on the horizon now, really. And that's like, so the next 10, 15, 20 years is going to be, I think, one of the most fundamentally exciting periods for Australian wine. Like it's so I'm extremely excited about it, and I think we've been through our we've had our debut, we've had our high school prom, in markets like America and whatnot, and we sort of we've been through like the sort of the compulsory kind of rebound moment, and now we're in a position where we're going to be a very I think respected, honest, credible, producer of wine that people want to drink around the world.
And it's amazing to see sort of your take on that. When we started 8 years ago, was right in the depths of the first sort of wave of natural wine movement, and also in the waves of, I think, was called the alternative, or is called the alternative variety movement inside Australia, of which there's a myriad of different semantical issues when you call them those two things, alternative and natural. And we saw them as being not necessarily mutually exclusive if you nail your site selection. then you make the process of natural winemaking or minimal interventional winemaking so much easier. Especially when you've got a grape variety that climatically has perfectly suited to its area. Not the first time it's happened though, because Brian Crozer was the one that really championed the homocline model like a long time ago, quite a while, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's what caused the planting of
If you're out there, Brian,
we love you.
we love you.
Don't
Thanks
be
for
angry.
tuning
We
in.
know you're a grumpy
Thanks for
guy,
tuning in.
but thank you for tuning in.
He's a really interesting. He's a fascinating guy to talk to.
Stupidly intelligent.
Yeah, like terrifyingly.
Wasn't he like
But
head of the university, Adelaide University? Wasn't he? What do they call him? A chancellor?
of Wagga, like he was. Yeah, he was. Well, but he's a very, very interesting guy to talk to, and has come from a position of being the Madonna to becoming like the Antichrist, and now sort of now settling somewhere in between. It's like it's really the waves of fashion and change. It's like and I
We're
sort
not
of
immune to it.
yeah, sort of and I was like as I said at the start, like I'm all about wine because it brings people to the connectivity, and I really I really seriously dislike politicizing wine. I don't understand it. Like and it's human nature that people sort of feel the need to sort of do that, or sort of put people in boxes and whatnot. But
Is it money related?
I don't think it is. I think it's like insecurity and sort of it sort of goes deep into just the human psyche. It's like and there are several people I know that just have lived their whole lives and have never said a fucking bad word about anybody, and that'd be nice if the world was like that. But it's interesting when wine sort of gets politicized like that, and I understand. I sort of it's fun to burn a flag or whatever and do those sorts of things. But
there's a soundbite. It's fun to burn a flag.
So if you're at home tonight with a flag. It just a little part of me dies whenever I sort of see that happen in the world of wine, because
it's not helpful at all.
It's just not, and like wine is just so fucking fun and interesting, and good, that like it doesnesn't. I don't care what you're drinking or you or anybody. It's like
this is the music argument. This is what when I worked for Steve Pannell, he would always say, like, he goes, I don't give a shit what music you listen to. You might listen to rap, opera, whatever, but when it comes to what you drink, man, like suddenly there's what gives?
Yeah,
Who gives a
yeah,
shit? Who gives a shit what you like?
It's crazy. It's so I sort of spend. And I've been victim. I've fallen victim to it as much as anyone else. But I spend a lot of time trying to just like say to people, hey, like it's probably better if you don't sort of turn it into a religion and just like celebrate the fact that it's also fucking interesting and different.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of different wines, we've got some fun people on Twitch. Twitch has opened up after 50 days to become absolutely debaucherous. Thank you, Twitch. You're serving up all the wonderful comments. Amanda, though, and we'll answer this actually while we get some wine poured, because you brought an awesome little blind tasting wine. Obviously, we're very familiar with the options game, of course.
Yeah. Done it once or twice.
But what is the most exciting wine region in Australia, in your opinion?
We're sitting in Gummaraka. It is hard to go past the Adelaide Hills.
Adelaide Hills is pretty exciting.
The Adelaide Hills is really exciting, it's exciting because it offers such incredible opportunity. You can make such a range of styles here, but the sort of the force of the land, the force of the geology, the topography. Yeah,
it's very non-homogeneous.
Yeah, it's like and it's strong. Like you can't do the wrong thing in the wrong place. It's unforgiving, sort of uncompromising. So yeah, I think and because of that, it's attracted a lot of very capable people, and it's only in its kind of second generation. Brian's the first generation, and people like you are the second generation. Yeah. So it's a formative time, which makes it very exciting as well. Yeah.
There you go, Adelaide Hills, where it's at. But this smells incredible. What is this? This is wacko. This is fun. feeling this is going to be tough.
Well,
I'm
it's
going to
not.
shove the comments down, so no one's going to let everyone know what we're drinking, so they can follow on. Oh, and I'm not looking at the comments now because
Do they know at home what we're drinking?
They will. They are knowing at home, but
Oh, amazing.
it is blind tasting, the only sport left on Aussie TV. It's more so about.
The real power.
Come on.
Yeah, the real power move. That's
Come
the
on.
real power move. Yeah, right. Okay, so firstly, I mean, with black glasses, we don't usually use. On the show we do, but at home, we found these out the back. Well, fuck, this would be pretty good TV.
Yeah.
Why not? It's actually quite disorienting.
Baller.
Baller. It's so baller. So, red wine. It's red. I'm gonna say.
It is red.
It is red.
Yeah. Yep.
The old Newer thing. It's got the most remarkable smell. This thing. This is pretty gnarly. It's super savoury, and I'm quite surprised with how sort of fruit weight sits because it's clipped finish. You know, very very clean, lean. So, you know, I think it's old world.
It's New World.
Fucking serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Can I ask a fun question that's sort of like slightly off piece?
Yeah.
Like what do you think the vine age is?
I think the vine age is young.
Okay, so say like, you know, if we crop in the third year, so it's 20 years or less young,
Yep.
it's more than 100 years old.
Fucking serious.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Yep.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because you're like fruit weight, the length, and stuff like that. And it was pretty funny. Like at university, I actually had to do this sort of dissertation on vine age and whether it matters or not. And I actually don't think it matters. I think there are certain things viticulturally that matters from a wine perspective. Yeah. You spit in his head. I mean, you don't need to. This is Corky McCorkface, named for by the audience. Has eyes. We decided it's a dad bod cork, not a female cork.
It's pretty dry in there.
It is.
So is that?
Oh yeah, no, you can. Oh no, so have you?
So we can spit? You watch it?
No. Actually, that's fascinating you ask because I once spat into running late for. Sorry, I was on time for the meeting and we're selling wine obviously to a song, and it was just a small bar in Perth and rocked up. And they were really frazzled. They were like 15 minutes late, and I'm like, "Hey, it's fucking cool. It's fine." And jumps behind the bar, grabs like a spittoon and a couple of glasses. Yeah, pour it. I'm really sorry I'm late. Tell us about your story and stuff like that. And grab it. Put it in your mouth, and you go like that. And I'd never had the lesson to clarify
Right.
whether it was a spittoon or not
Okay.
because I spat in that fucking thing.
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
You
and-
unloaded.
Yeah, I did, and and a little puff of dust came up, hit me in the face. Guy was 15 minutes late, spreading the ashes of his mum that day.
Did not see that coming.
That's probably by far the fucking most embarrassing story ever. Hey, he reacted so well. He's like, he goes, "My mum was Irish, died of a liver failure. She drank a bottle of whiskey a
loved
day." It's like, I knew she'd find a way to get booze in the afterlife.
Wow.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. So no, thank you for asking because there's a legit thing. You said you actually need to clarify sometimes that the gigantic sort of empty vessels in front of you aren't legitimate spittoons or not.
Wow. I need to correct you there. Just something you said. It's like like there's human years and dog years. So like 15 minutes late in sommelier minutes is actually 40 minutes early in human minutes.
Oh, we have this thing called #SomLife. It's like the most. It's
pretty early. That's pretty early.
Yeah.
They're actually early.
I think the industry were working with a couple of other winemakers to get a T-shirt made up saying "What's the pouring price?" We feel that would go off. I think this is is this the really high, firstly old world? Sorry, New World. You said New World.
It's New World. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
It's New World and it's very very old wine.
Yeah. Right. I want to see how this opens up over hours though.
Yeah. You should. Yeah. It's what do you want to do? Country?
Yep.
Okay. Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Chile.
Mm-hmm.
Or Argentina.
It's hard because like in Australia there's just such a wealth of amazing sort of vines, you know, above 100 years. I'm not aware of that in Chile, but I am aware of that in Argentina. But it wasn't like,
They're there.
Like they're there.
They're there. Yeah.
So like I've never tasted anything like this. Never tasted anything like this.
Yeah.
I've no par standard. So I'm just gonna and Argentina I just wouldn't know that would do something this beautiful. I mean, are they in Chile? I mean, Chile was my sort of gunning thing because I feel like something this palate weight, shape, balance of acid would come out of Chile.
The force is strong in this one.
Oh, is it Chile?
It is.
Fucking cool. Yeah. I just redeemed some kind of level of dignity.
Do you want to do a quick grape? Should we do grape variety?
It's Carmen, yeah.
He's gone cock on the block, as we say in options
No,
parlance.
we call it the power move.
The power move.
The power move. Yeah, we've even got. I'm going to play it anyway, even though I'm probably not going to get it. But this is the power move.
Here we go. So no. But
damn it!
But no.
I just haven't like Pinot maybe. Like it's just so lean and pretty. And,
It's Carignan.
Legit Carignan.
It's Carignan.
Not Bonvedro. None of this sort of like they didn't have the CSRO bugger it up like years ago or anything like.
I don't
Okay,
think
cool.
so. No.
Do you know they've found another one? The CSRO found another one the other day. Another grape variety, like, oh yeah, no, totally, yeah, we brought in this amazing grape variety and you all planted the wrong thing. It was literally like only like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It was, I forget what it was. I'll find out for you. I'll post it up after. But yeah.
Just like that, we just need a quick Zoom meeting with like 3,000 of you, just to sort of let you know that sorry, Australian wine producers, you're.
Yeah, well, I mean, Savignon was a massive.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a swing and a kind of like a near hit. It was sort of like a, you know, hey, we all banked on Albariño, but Savignon's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
right.
so
it's Carignan.
Yeah, it's Carignan. It's
the least reductive Carignan I've ever tried.
Yeah, well, Carignan's interesting. You know, like I got sent to France
beautiful.
to do a story in 2006 before the Rugby World Cup was there, and I sort of went tasting through the Languedoc, and just like the best wines I tried were old vine Carignan wines. So you know, they had this X factor, and I remember talking to people about it, and they just said, look, yeah, Carignan can be amazing, but until it gets to about 40 or 50 years of age, and unless it's dry grown in as bush vines, like just forget about it. You know, put it in a cask. You know,
That's fascinating.
So I've always kind of had an eye on Carignan. You know, the great examples for me have this real X factor, and yeah, so that's a wine.
It's super young.
Yeah, so it's 2018. It's actually an advanced, you know,
Release.
Advanced release. Yeah, you'll see the label. The label has like the vintage.
I wish we could do this. It would save us so much money.
Stuck over.
That's so good.
But
Wow,
but yeah,
I've never seen this.
so that was I actually had that wine sent out.
It's beautiful.
I work you know, for Tasting Australia as the beverage director for that festival, and there's a tasting we were going to do, which we'll do again.
Give me some focus, motherfucker. Yeah, cool.
Which is called 1,000 Years of Wine, and it's a tasting that's it's 10 wines, and to be in the tasting, the vineyard has to be 100 years old or older. So
That's baller.
Yeah, it's a good
an amazing
tasting.
one.
So I came up with that. We did it last year, and people absolutely loved it. So we're doing it again this year, and you know, I try and find wild cards from around the world. I had a Malbec from Las Compuertas in just outside of Mendoza, sent over last year for the tasting, and then I found this when I was there actually just earlier this year. Tasted that wine, and just thought that is a really
But it's
really
not
delicious
available in
wine.
Australia yet.
It's not.
Thank you so much for bringing this.
How many bottles are made? Like it's
496 bottles.
496.
There's 495 left.
Make it 495.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so I'm gonna say we also have another little Somm Life thing on here, but if there ever was a wine that was available in Australia, then this would definitely have what we call big label energy. This definitely has big label energy.
Yes.
This is definitely going on the wall for big label energy. That's incredible. Like if someone Hey, that's remarkably exciting. You know what's really remarkable? That someone has grabbed all those things where it's, it's red wine, it's from Chile, it's over 100 years old, and they didn't extract the living shit out of it. They've left it like Pinot-esque almost. Like, not to use that sort of term, but like it's dainty and pretty, and it's not overblown. The acidity's in remarkable balance.
Yeah, it's that part of the world for wine is like there are, and I only started traveling there 3 years ago. It's wild. Like there is such, it's like for me it's the reverse experience that everyone has of Australia from the other side of the world. I'm sort of having like I sort of now understand what it's like to sort of have like some ideas, but not really be too clued in, and just go there and have your mind blown.
So do you reckon there's room for a Chilean wine importer, like in Australia? Do you reckon there's enough, new brands that aren't being represented here that should be?
Sure. Yeah, and I've watched people sort of dip into that market, and it's Argentina, it certainly works, and Chile is like Argentina's so kind of, it's a bit rock and roll, like it's a bit Wild West and cowboy, and Chile's kind of been sort of pretty. The industry hasn't really expanded and grown and sort of had like that, the other dimensions haven't all kind of arrived like they have in Argentina.
Yeah.
So there's some pretty interesting times ahead, I think, for Chile. Yeah.
Evidently.
Yeah.
Well, we can't let you leave. We've only got 9 minutes left.
Do we really?
Yeah. No.
Shit.
No. Seriously, time flies. Everyone says the same thing. We can't let you leave. Obviously, bringing an amazing wine like this for blind tasting. We have a bunch of wines on the back wall here that I don't know what they are. They've come from a myriad of different importers, retailers, whatnot. We asked them to mix up a dozen, just send the invoice to Laura. Noah grabs the wines, wraps them up. I don't actually know what they are. You don't know what they are. So it's completely your choice.
Okay.
Pick one at random, and we'll try and guess what it is.
All right, sure. Is there music?
Well, there is actually music playing. I know there's actually, it's kind of eerie because there's no music playing here, but there's actually music playing at home for everyone.
I'd like I have the electric blankets and the socket wrench set. I have that. And the Fraser Island holiday. I'll take the Fraser Island holiday.
That's awesome. All right. You're completely your choice. It's like fishing. It's not actually about guessing what the wine is.
Give it to you?
Give it to me,
Yep. Noah's gonna sort it out.
Okay.
And while Noah's opening that up, we're gonna have another quick little snifter of wine, because I want you to tell us about this. It's a really, because I'm a car enthusiast, in case you guys aren't aware, and in fact our entire family is. And I was so stoked to find a wine called Sandman.
The Sandman. There it is.
Seriously, that is utterly remarkable.
So
it's so good.
It's called Sandman because it's from a sandy bit of soil in Blewett Springs, so that's Grenache.
Ooh, hello.
And it's a part of the world I love, and the beach culture down in that neck of the woods is something that I think really lends itself to to this sort of thing.
Chill vibes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a Grenache, biodynamically farmed vineyard. 1947 planted bush vines, and it's like I've messed around making wine for more than 15 years now, just little bits and pieces, and this is the first time I really understood what it means to have truly amazing grapes and to actually have truly amazing grapes, and how that sort of translates into. Do
you guys have the wine open? Can I crack into this? Can we crack into
it?
Yeah,
let's do it. Yeah, cool? For sure.
Yeah, I want to give it a crack because Blewett Springs Grenache, man.
Yeah,
absolutely
and actually, I'm actually staying at the moment. I'm down. I'm staying down in that part of the world because I've been doing a big McLaren Vale tasting for the last couple of weeks, about 600 wines, and it's really interesting to watch, to see the way that Grenache is kind of scripting the story of McLaren Vale, and it's becoming all about great vineyards, good growers, people that farm well, and very very site specific sort of expressions of wine. And we're seeing like this sort of the Burgundian or the Piedmontese model where you have a great vineyard and multiple producers are coming into that vineyard, and often that, you know, it's like, hey, you know, someone brings someone else in, and it's sort of like it's a very, very interesting moment. So yeah, so it's good times for Grenache right now.
And just quite, this is like a winemaker thing, but this is like a money cork. This is seriously like you guys don't really. This is sort of
money,
like,
baby.
Yeah, this is. This is honestly, this is probably one of the most like amazing. You're too photogenic. It's the focus is just striking straight onto you. Seriously, this is. Seriously, this is like the power move, the ultimate power move when it comes to corks. That's a good cork.
I like the fun of packaging, obviously. Like, you know, like
It's the aesthetic of it.
Yeah, I just think it's fun. Like, I think all the aspects of you know, of putting a wine together and giving it an identity is you know, is a really fun part of the process.
It's incredibly rewarding.
You know, yeah. So that's. Shut up. This is a wine critic's worst nightmare when wine critic makes wine, gets someone else to taste it live on the internet while he sits there. This is the worst. Literally my worst nightmare.
Well, what's even better is we have 4 minutes to guess a blind wine.
Oh, yeah. But, which one is it?
In the Black Glass. This is the cool thing I really like about well-made Grenache is just that the tannin is always full, but it's always sublime, and it's always really tailored. So this is like the level of, like, they talk about suede tannins. You know, we're talking about. Sorry for those who haven't seen this, we're going to get a little bit basic. Tannin. Use the wine as a mouthwash, put it in front of your teeth, feel the grippy sensation, changes your world. And especially when actually being able to feel the tangible sensations of wine in and of itself, this is one of those really fun. I think that's what we call smoothness, I guess. Acidity on Grenache naturally likes to drop acid. Not the fun kind. But but like this is particularly like, this is quite like you could glug this.
Yeah, this vineyard actually delivers naturally like an unusually low pH, which is which is fun. As you know, if you're making wine. Yeah, so it's but I don't know. Like I'm kind of upset. I'm obsessed by
What's the vintage?
By Grenache 17.
Oh, it's on the front.
Yeah,
okay.
It's the number plate.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm sort of
That's
become
fun.
quite
It'll
obsessed.
also reward some
by it.
cellaring as well. 3 or 4 years, I reckon, would be really amazing for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Really,
Well,
really amazing.
I'm happy to come back on day number 842. I'll be back here.
I'm looking
back here,
haggard. All right.
Laura's left the building. She's like, I'm out of here.
Left the marriage as well, actually. She's like done the whole thing. All right, so I'm going to shove the comments down. We have 3 minutes. It's going to be quick, rapid fire guessing. It's kind of dusty, isn't it? It's going to be dusty. Well, it's white. She's white.
Yeah.
White.
And it's almost like it has like maybe a teeny bit of age on it, maybe. Or
A bit of age. Is that residual? Or is it? I reckon it's just age making the sort of mid palate way a little bit more robust.
I did a tasting. I'm sort of become, because I've got time to do it now. I'm like all about the vertical tasting at the moment. So as a critic, I just reaching out to people and
Pushing sort of vintages.
And surprise, people are like, oh fuck yeah, I didn't think of that. I should do that. I've got 26 vintages or something, or 10 vintages or 12 vintages or whatever. It's so fascinating. But I did a tasting yesterday with like 30 bottles of Riesling from 2 Clare vineyards, 19 back to 04. It was just like such.
They could only be Barry.
It was Sam Barry. Well, it was Sam Barry's beard. And I'm pretty sure Sam was there somewhere as well. But his beard was definitely there. Definitely there. He must have gotten sick about 6 years ago. Like he was ahead of the curve.
All right, so white, old world or new world? Whatever. Noah, you're calling the questions.
Yeah, new world.
Okay.
It's tough on this one, I reckon.
I think it's New World.
I'm gonna go old world.
Oh well.
Oh, it was a bit of a punt. It's hard. It's like it could be Riesling. It's just fruit weight wasn't dense enough, maybe. I don't know. That's what led me.
Okay.
What are we? All right, we're old world. That's going to be hard.
Austria, Germany, France.
Ah,
I'm going Austria.
yeah, I'm Austria also.
Yeah.
You're both right.
Oh, good. No, so Germany would be sort of more pristine than this wine. This wine doesn't, it's not like it's got a clunkiness, but it's certainly got a savouriness that's a little bit sort of unhindered. And France would be power and expression. And from that part, it would obviously be Alsace if it was France. And no, yeah, that's sort of what led me anyway.
All right, let's go. Are we going Burgenland, Vienna, or down south in Lower Austria?
I mean, if it's a cool kid, it's probably Burgenland, isn't it?
I'm thinking Burgenland.
I'm gonna go, I reckon it's a cool kid. I reckon
No, it's down south.
down south,
Down Lower
the
Austria.
deep south.
It's
Comtal. Yeah, right. OG. Yeah.
Yeah, stretching my Austria. Oh, that's too far. I'm gonna need you to
Aged Gruner. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm raising with Brennan.
It's aged Gruner.
Yeah. Well, you said dusty, and it's like so. Is that the peppery? Is that the parsnip? Is that you know?
It's
all
literally like something's like parsnip dusty.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you've just pulled a parsnip out and you're just like
I'll go Gruner.
you're motorboating it. Yeah, Gruner.
Yeah, it's Brennan.
Yeah, nice.
Vintage.
Oh yeah, okay, that's a fun one.
That's the
Are we gonna poke at it? Do we get options? Do you want options?
Yeah,
Or
give us
just poke?
options. Yeah.
17, 15, 12.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, they're fun options. They're fun options. Because you were like 17, 18, 19, we were like, oh, it's just pre-moxie, done. Because there's a bit of age on it.
I'm going to say 15. I'm going the middle. Not just for the middle, but like 15. Yeah, I sort of, like I said that straight out, I sort of felt like there was a little, like
Little
that's
bit,
just
but
that
not
little
too
bit of caramelization, you know, with a little bit of age.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a point of difference. I'm with Nick on this. I reckon it's 15 as well. I'm gonna do 12 just to like, you know, for glory points.
Now you're both wrong at 17.
It's pre-moxie, okay.
It's a very forward 17.
It's a very forward. What's a producer? Oh wow, yeah, cool. These guys are fantastic. Yeah, wicked.
Nice.
Manana. Andorfer.
That's an F.
It's an F?
It's an F.
Andorfer. That's very cool. Have you tried this before?
I haven't.
Real wines bring this in. That's Seb Crowther.
Seb, yeah.
Yeah, really cool.
Good
There's
boy.
something about the you talk about packaging. Something about these sort of long, slender bottles that I just kind of have a massive thing for that most somms utterly hate because they can't fit in fridges.
Yeah. I'm obsessed with the glass colors that come from that part of the world as
Same.
well. Like the blue glass. Oh my god! Like so.
Yeah.
So
we got to bring it
so
back.
good.
We've got to bring back Old Blue.
Yeah.
We got to bring that back.
It must be super expensive, you know, to make.
I just
to try and
think
make in
people
Australia.
just aren't. I mean, surely there's the scale must be there. I mean, Blue Nun still exists, so at least you could go to the same supplier.
Yeah.
We could make this happen. We could bring a container across. You know, just for fun. I'll do it.
Yeah. Well, I make a little bit of Riesling, so I'm good for like at least 700 bottles.
Yeah, we'll fill out the rest of the container. We'll do some sort of crazy Fiano or something like that. Anyway, we are we're biting into Applewood Distillery time. I know Henry's waiting to press the stream button. Nick, thank you so much for joining us seriously. And thank you for bringing the wines and just giving us
pleasure,
a
man.
whole bunch of insight into how tangential the world of wine is. How amazing that you can go from things like design, architecture to wine critic to winemaker, filmmaker, and do it with such remarkable quality. Every single time. It's a testament to you, mate. It's like, you know,
Oh,
incredible,
fine, mate.
Incredible. We're just humble hillbillies up here.
Thanks for having me, and like it's very good to see like, you know, what you guys are doing and the fact that you kind of like, you just get the game. You understand all the different facets, and you're not here sort of just like, you know, preaching like, you know, in a sort of a religious kind of way.
We haven't had a Unico wine in about like 3 weeks.
You should have one. But like, it'd be bad form to bring your wine as like as a you know, it's always bad form to like, you know, to blind someone on their own wine. It's just not a good thing to do, I don't think.
Everyone watched this because I was like, man, this Fiano shit.
I think that's an etiquette thing, you know, like for blind tasting, you know, it's not something you do, particularly when you're broadcasting it. But thanks, man. Awesome. I've enjoyed watching some of the other stuff, and I'll keep tuning in for sure.
Sweet, cool. Thanks so much, guys. Now tomorrow, very, very special. This is a massive community announcement. So tomorrow, we will not be streaming at the same time like we have every other day. We're going to be streaming half an hour earlier, and we're not going to be streaming on Unico because we are taking over Australia.com, the Facebook page, for an hour. This is pretty baller, hey? For 8.5 million people, we're gonna be doing a rapid fire speed tasting, 10 blind taster ones in 45 minutes. We're gonna do an absolute vinous story across Australia, and that's very hard to do with 10 wines and only with 45 minutes. We're gonna try to do our best though. We're talking about the iconics, and if you want to see us try to sort of rabble through, it'll be Laura and I rabbling through.
It's amazing.
Some of the iconic wines of Australia. Tune in tomorrow. It'll be what's that? 4:30 our time, 5 p.m. AEST for knockoffs on Australia.com, the Facebook page. So you can still chime in if you would like to chime in. We will be answering comments and everything as per usual, but it's just going to be a little bit more crazy, a little bit more hectic than we're used to. So bear with us. But guys, thank you so much, Nick. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And we'll catch you tomorrow. Cheers.